I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:16 and ask our secretary, Mrs. Berry, to take roll, please.
Ms. Ansonik.
Here.
Ms. Berry. Here. Ms. Fawaz. Mr. Garcia.
Here.
Ms. Kaminsky.
Here.
And Ms. Krasanik.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Once again, we're going to say the pledge to ourselves. Won't it be nice when we can say it all together?
Yeah.
The purpose of this special meeting is to interview candidates for the Board of Education trustee position created by the resignation of Miss Lynn Sinia, who do we do awfully miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we're doing today. We're interviewing, and hopefully we can come to a consensus. We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see what happens. So the first candidate is Mrs. Najah Janoun.
Madam President,
Yes.
before you proceed, I believe there were a couple of action items that I received. Am I correct? I received an agenda that showed a couple of personnel action items. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
I didn't.
I
Okay.
didn't.
I might have been.
didn't.
Okay, I might have been looking at.
Oh, you know what, Ed? The action items are for after. If someone wants to make a motion to
Okay.
move the candidate forward in the process or to appoint someone, those are the action items.
How about the approval of the agenda? Was that
That's the first one on the roll call sheet.
Yeah, the approval of the agenda is right after you said the purpose of the meeting.
yes?
Approval of the agenda, Madam Miss Berry.
Okay. So should we? Approval of agenda?
Yeah, let's do that. Board
Okay.
of, go ahead, Nadia. Board of Education approval.
Board of Education approval is recommended for the items listed on the consent agenda, which include the August 17th, 2020 board meeting
Agenda.
motion.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mrs. Berry,
Mhm.
Support.
supported by Mrs. Kaminsky then.
Okay.
That education approval is recommended for the items listed on the consent agenda, which include the August 17th, 2020 board agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you for whoever noticed we didn't do that. So are we ready to roll here?
We
Yeah.
are.
Okay, if you'd like to bring in the first candidate, I believe I said her name is Najah Janoun.
Okay, I will go get her.
Thank you. And in the meantime, for your listening enjoyment, I'm going to sing.
What's the song that you have chosen?
I know, happy birthday.
Thank you. Perfect.
You didn't know if it'd be easier with the headphones headset on, or you can unplug it. Can you see me? Yes.
No, I
God, isn't it?
Okay.
don't mind.
Wait, this isn't a fog for me.
There's 2 bottles of water there. If you're thirsty, and some tissue.
Good, sure. Okay, I'll move these right over here.
We're not starting. are we?
Yeah. Oh, we're
Yeah.
live.
Oh. Oh.
You're okay. You're good.
Live.
Hi, I know this is weird when you're not used to it, especially looking at all these faces looking at you, but thanks
Right.
to our pandemic, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were already live, so I wouldn't have walked in like all,
No, you're fine. You're fine. We are in receipt of the letter that you sent stating that you're interested in the open seat on the board. And what we're going to do is give you 20 minutes and ask you questions. All the candidates will be asked the same questions. So do your best to answer them, but as concise, as briefly as possible, because you don't want to run out of time.
Okay. Do you mind if I write down I'm going to just be jotting
You
notes.
can write down anything you want. You can draw pictures. You can do anything.
I don't do that, but
Just relax and just tell us about you. The first question. Are you ready?
Yep.
First question. Briefly tell us about yourself highlighting your involvement with the activities of the Crestwood schools and any specific areas that would help us gain knowledge regarding your candidacy.
Okay, so a little bit about myself is I am a mother of 4. Recently had my oldest graduate, proudly from Crestwood. So, and I do have 3 other children still in the district. Another soon-to-be senior, freshman, and a 6th grader. I have lived in Dearborn Heights for 30 years, and I have actively worked as a licensed realtor in the city for the past 10, where, we know that schools and real estate kind of go hand in hand, and so education. But, the majority of my work has been in the city, and so I have a vested interest in the success of our district. So things that I've done and I've been involved in, there have been so many opportunities to be involved, and any opportunity that I've had and a chance to kind of throw myself in there or ask to be a part of. Really, I'll go, the first one, I was part of the Sex Education Advisory Reproductive Committee, where we kind of went over the curriculum, made sure that, everything that we wanted to see in there was in there, or things that needed to be, grade appropriate, and made sure that staff, stuck to the curriculum and didn't go outside of that. The school improvement team, the Crestwood advisory team, the policy committee, and the student code of conduct, the handbook. I sat in on those meetings where we discussed, again, what needed to stay, go, adjust, tweak,
Mm-hmm.
So Highview Elementary, where my daughter was attending, I was PTA president at that school, and I thought we were PTA. Turns out we weren't really compliant. We didn't have our proper paperwork in. So this year was ending, I had made it my mission to make sure that school was compliant, received their nonprofit status again. So I contacted the Michigan PTA, filled out all the paperwork, went through the process to get them their nonprofit status again. Seeing the need for more, parental involvement, moving on from the elementary level, I was also the vice president of the PTA at Riverside. Went to the high school and decided that we needed to start a PTA there. So this past year, formed a PTA there, got our parent group. We had our monthly meetings, started planning things like for the seniors, the tin can raffle. I chaired that, fundraised for incentives, gift cards for PBIS for the students, which is, the positive behavior
Right.
intervention support. Trying to remember the acronym. And when March came along and we hit COVID, I, actively became part of helping package and distribute food during that time to families that were in need.
I think that's a pretty.
I'm like,
I think you've been busy.
I'm trying to remember everything else. I worked on the non-homestead millage renewal, helping to get that
Right.
passed because it had failed a couple times before.
There will be a question about that later. Let's move on. Do I have anyone that's going to be a timekeeper for me? 'Cause I'm not.
I can do that.
I'm so sorry. There's a dog outside. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Let's not take the barking dog time away from her, okay? Okay, second question is, why do you want to serve on the school board, and what prompted your decision?
Well, I've been actively involved in my children's education from the very beginning. I mean, starting out as a homeroom mom to field trips. I mean, anything that I could be a part of, I wanted to be. I really believe that an equitable education for all, our children's education is their foundation. It is what going to help them in their future. And so what's driven me to be a part of it is I've done everything else, and I felt like I wanted to serve in a different capacity.
Okay. What do you believe is the greatest challenge facing the Crestwood School District?
You're asking me this now. Has asked me that a year ago, I probably would have answered quite differently.
Way.
We've come a long way, and I'm happy to say that the things that I've, struggled with, we've overcome, and we're improving in those areas. But currently, I guess I would say COVID, working on, our online, that learning, helping to streamline that so that there are no issues. Really, COVID's done a number on all of us. That would definitely be our greatest challenge, having an equitable education for all, making sure that all students are serviced.
Right. Okay. Did I get an answer? I'm sorry, one moment, Mrs. Janoon. Did I get an answer on the timekeeper or someone watching this?
Yes, I'm watching it.
Thank you. Okay, because of the issues we deal with, confidentiality is a requirement. How would you safeguard the confidential business of this district?
Confidentiality is huge. So really, the top, you just whatever is said within the board stays within the board. You don't really, it's considered breaking the law, and it's not something that I would do. So if there's a discussion and it's meant for, to be confidential, then it stays confidential. That speaks on the ethics. And if you're a board member, you have to be ethical. So that's it. Ethics and not breaking the law.
Yep. Yeah. All right. What experiences have you had in working with, well, I think you've already kind of answered this, but I'll read it anyway. What experiences have you had in working with diverse persons, students, or families, including other ethnic groups and exceptional children?
Well, yeah, I guess if I touched on different aspects of that, obviously I know, I've been involved. Crestwood is multicultural. It's diverse. There are many different people from many different backgrounds. But if I went outside of the school setting, I've been a part of interfaith programs with our mosque, and even taken my children to Christmas service at the mosque church. I'm sorry. So just exposing myself along with my children to different cultures, different activities that take place outside of what we would normally be a part of. But then again, Crestwood, being that I've been really involved as much as I possibly can, I witness and I'm a part of those, different cultures every day.
Right. Okay. This is let's see, if cuts in programs for students became necessary for financial reasons, what would you cut?
Ooh. Cuts in programs. So I guess really the first thing what you need to do is sit down as a team and bring all stakeholders to the table and figure out what is least utilized, what, I guess, I don't know if I would necessarily say right off the bat that this is what I would cut, because I think it depends on the district, and I think it depends on what's happening within the district. If you bring the data and you say this is what we're not really utilizing, and we're spending money somewhere where it's, it's no longer benefits our students and make the least negative impact on their education as possible. But I don't think I would say right off the bat, this is what I would cut. It would depend on our district, what we're utilizing or not.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry. Number 6.
Oh, yes. Why don't we ask that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Will you give us a notice? Will you give us like a 5-minute notice?
Yes. You still
Thank
have.
you. What approach would you take to helping pass millage renewals, millage increases, or other elections?
So seeing as I was a part of assisting and getting the word out for the non-homestead millage renewal this past, I think it was March, we had an election. It had failed 2 times prior, and PTA wasn't really involved. And this time, under the new administration, Dr. Musam came to us and said, hey, how can you guys help this? Or, is there a way that the PTA can help? So I think at the end of the day, just being active and just, we really pounded the pavement. We went out, we ordered signs, we distributed them to different households, different businesses that were easily accessible and visible to the main roads. Social media, we really just made sure to get the word out. We went to APAC. Well, I went to APAC and asked for their endorsement. I spoke on behalf of the PTA, and they endorsed us. And I think that made it, I would hope to think, or like to think, that all of those efforts played a role in that millage passing.
Okay. The next question for you is, at times you will be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law that you are required to uphold as a board member. How will you handle this?
Well, I think it's kind of in the question there, policy and law. So that right there kind of tells you, no matter what opposing views there are, if they don't fall within what, the policy describes or the law, then you don't do it. It doesn't matter what the opposing view is. At the end of the day, again, you have to uphold the law, and the policies are put in place by the board for a reason. So, and as long as they're easily, accessible to everybody, and everybody knows what the policies are, there should be no question as to what needs to be done.
Thank you. Okay, and the last question, can you believe it already? The last question.
Really?
What is the role of a school board member?
The role of a school board member. Well, the school board member alone doesn't do anything. So you don't act alone. So the school board as a whole has plenty of roles. And the first and foremost is to really set the vision and the goal for the district. You again adopt the policies. The superintendent then implements the policies. You hire and evaluate staff. The one that I'm trying to remember. You approve the recommended curriculum. The board plays a huge role in the collective bargaining agreement and that process for the employees in the district. At the end of the day, really focus on the children and giving them a good education. So that's the most important.
Thank you. And how are we doing on time, Mrs. Berry?
Excellent.
Are we? Because that was our last question.
Yes, we still have 5 minutes, but
So we still have 5 minutes. And I guess what we can do is, if we do have time left over with the agreement of the board, we can ask the candidate if there's anything they'd just like to share. Would that be fair?
that would be fair.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Noon, why don't you go ahead and just talk about what you'd like to talk about?
Thought I was going to have no time left.
You only have 5 minutes. It'll go quick.
I think, just like I said before, I mean, I've been involved in so many different levels and different aspects of the board, and meetings, and just from the very bottom of which in my opinion, I think is the most important, is being a part of my children's education and being able to attend field trips with them, being there during lunchtime. They felt it's funny because even up to my senior, he didn't care if he saw me in school. And I think even a part of him enjoyed it. So I think just, having that ability and that the option of being able to be a part of their education. And again, just taking it to a different level and in a different capacity, being able to be a part of, I'd love to see this district, because I know we have the potential to be one of the top districts. And I know you've all heard my meetings before say that, he'd love to see us be a model district. And I really feel like we can. I feel like it's not that far-fetched, and we've come in just such a short period of time, such a long way, that I would now love to be a part of moving on to that next phase.
Perfect. Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you for your interest. We have a couple other people that we need to interview, and then we're going to probably deliberate today and let you know what the outcome was one way or another.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Ms. Janoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All righty. Our next person is scheduled at what time?
6:50.
6:50.
You're welcome to stay for,
Yeah, we have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
right there, you guys, hold on.
Would it be inappropriate to make comments now, do you think?
I think so. What do you guys think?
I think we should probably wait.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Knaffer is out. I could go get him if you're ready.
That would be fine. He's already here.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me
Okay.
switch up. Hold on a second.
He's willing, we're willing.
Can you spell that name for me, Donna?
His last name is Khanaf, as in Frank, ER.
Thank you.
Pronounced Kanapur? Kanapur, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, all right, I guess we're ready, huh? As soon as he shows up, we'll ask, and he sent an email, but there's no other letter or anything, because I looked for one and then I remembered he sent the one email. So
do we save our notes and hand them in?
yeah, well, yeah, afterwards, if we have the discussion, and you might want to look at your
Oh.
notes.
Okay, because yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hand them in. This is your
No, we
feelings.
don't. No, I mean, it's an open meeting, but we don't need anyone to see what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's difficult to figure out time-wise when you're answering questions, how long to talk about one question, and you have 20 minutes and
Yeah,
get everything in.
very hard.
Yeah.
Maybe we should tell them how many questions there are so they can pace themselves.
I think I mentioned that, and that they have 20. They're going to have 20
You did.
minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Krasanik. And that they, they'll have 20 minutes, and that helps someone.
He is ready whenever you guys are.
We are.
Okay, let me grab him.
Thank you.
Okay, come on in. Have a seat with a couple bottles of water,
Thank you.
and I'll be right outside if you need anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. And your last name is pronounced Kanapur?
You got it. You're good.
Oh, all right. I love that. I was lucky.
Can you guys see me good? I can see you, but I'm trying to figure out my screen where I am. Okay, there I am.
We can see you perfectly well. And I know you've got all these faces looking back at you, and that's kind of weird, but it's the way we have to do it.
It's okay. I've been looking at you guys on the YouTube channel for the last
Yeah.
weeks. So it's payback time.
There you go. We are going to be asking you 9 questions in 20 minutes. So you want to kind of pace yourself if you can. I know that's difficult to do. And I will start it off if you're ready.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Briefly tell us about yourself, highlighting your involvement with the activities of the Crestwood schools and any specific areas that would help us gain knowledge regarding your candidacy.
Okay. So my name is ramis Kanapur. right now I am a pharmacist by trade, and I actually have 2 kids, twins, who will be starting the Crestwood school system. Well, they were supposed to, start now, go to school, but they'll be online now. So they're 4 going on 5, so they're actually starting kindergarten. My involvement with the Crestwood School District at this point, I would say I wasn't very involved. These are my only 2 children, currently. So it's my opportunity to be involved. Typically, I'm very involved with my children. So anything they do, whether it's soccer, and again, we're talking, little tiny kids soccer, where we're still chatting instead of actually playing soccer. I like to be involved, and I like to be involved not to control what my children do or to be a like a hover helicopter parent. It's more to ensure that when my kids are involved in something, they are getting the best that they can get. And I believe when it comes to education, which the way I was raised, education is one of the most important things we can do in our lives. My father always used to tell me, get a degree, get an education, and then after that, decide what you want to do with your life. If you decide not to use your degree, it's just be educated, live life, have experience. So as my kids are starting school and I saw that there was a vacancy, I'm like, this is an opportunity to be involved, definitely at a much higher level than I believe parents would probably start when their kids are starting school, start maybe with a PTA, things like that. But an opportunity is an opportunity. So I did want to kind of just dive in, toward a high level involvement. And I would still definitely want to be involved on all the little things that they do. Although online, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be an experience. But I do want to make sure that my children and other kids their age and, their, elementary school, middle school, high school, they're getting the best education they can.
Okay, thank you. Why do you want to serve on the school board? You've kind of answered that. What prompted your decision?
Obviously, the vacancy was the first thing. Again, it's just I want to be involved for my kids, but also for the community. I work as the director of pharmacy at one of the Beaumont hospitals. So I do typically had spent a lot of my time at work, at home with family. I don't consider I have done much community involvement historically. And I do want to give back to the community. I feel in our area, it's a very tight-knit community. And if there's something I can do to contribute, I do want to start being more involved and contributing more.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you believe is the greatest challenge facing the Crestwood School District?
Is that Corona included or excluded?
Yes. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Definitely the pandemic. I mean, I really give you guys credit for the work and the decisions you have had to make over the last month too. And so this is unprecedented times. This is new. This is different. I don't think this is easy what you are doing, the decisions you are being faced with. It's no different in healthcare right now. Every day had its own challenges, small problems, whether you're talking about, funding or just general departmental work. And all of a sudden with a pandemic, we were faced with changing how we do healthcare. Mm-hmm. That was a huge challenge. And I'm very well versed in healthcare, but that was challenging because all of a sudden we're doing everything differently. Online school, I think, is going to be a tremendous challenge, and there's going to be more decisions I feel that will need to be made to determine how we can optimize online education for children of all ages. I think there's, and I'm sure it'll come up in the future, discussions on how we're going to optimize education, especially for younger children, kindergarten, first, second, third grade, that are, you put them in front of a Chromebook. What can we expect a child of that age to do in front of a Chromebook, especially when there is not someone giving them constant directions and redirecting their attention to what they should be doing? I really think Corona is the challenge of, for now the decade, if not for the century, since we get these pandemics, it seems about a century apart.
Yeah. Okay, because of the issues we deal with, confidentiality is a requirement. How would you safeguard the confidential business of the district?
Honestly, I would refer just to healthcare confidentiality. You know, we have HIPAA. I call my brain the HIPAA brain. Any patient-related information comes in from one side, gets out from the other. Information I need to use will stay there. But you know, I have years and years of experience of maintaining confidentiality. And you know, even within the Beaumont system, I'm parts of many committees. A lot of the work we do is very confidential. So that's just within my nature. It's within my work experience.
Great. All right. What experiences have you had in working with diverse persons, students, or families, including other ethnic groups and exceptional children?
With children specifically, again, you know, I only have my own children at this point. In healthcare, definitely, I have a lot of experience working with different diverse group. I used to work at Oakwood Dearborn, and now Beaumont Dearborn, and now I work at Beaumont Taylor. So definitely in healthcare, diversity is there. A patient is a patient. You know, you don't treat someone differently because they're skin color, religion, so on and so forth. There's something we do in healthcare, which I think is a really great concept. It's called PFCC, Patient and Family Centered Care. It's about, you know, when you're dealing with patients, not just about the patient, you also got to look at the family. And I think what you guys have been doing, especially communicating with the community right now, is similar, but in an educational manner. So I started calling it the student and family centered education. It's you know, it's working with everyone. It doesn't matter. Again, we already come from a diverse community. We live in a diverse community. So diversity, it's just all around us. You know, I was born in Africa. I lived as a child in Lebanon, and then I lived in Canada, and then I moved here in my 20s. I've been all around, you know, different people, different backgrounds. I just believe in treating everybody equally. And, you know, again, obviously I watched the board meeting, so I understand when you guys were discussing what are we looking for. And, you know, also there was a strong emphasis on someone with, you know, experience working with kids, working with programs, and it definitely makes sense. And I can also tell you, I considered, am I an applicant that you are really looking for? You know, like, should I still go forward with it, or is there other applicants that are more qualified? So I don't, I think, particularly have the experience you're looking for in working with children. What I do have experience with is raising my children so far, and just working in an environment that puts me in touch with the community. Again, different groups, different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel, and I'll say it's more like a fresh set of eyes. I don't have the experience of a parent who has had their child go through, you know, elementary school, middle school, now in high school, being involved in, you know, the sports, all the events. I don't have that yet. I will have it over the years, hopefully. But right now, my experience, a lot of it really comes just from healthcare and working with a community there.
Okay. What approach would you take to helping pass millage renewals, millage increases, or other elections?
Well, the first step is always education. I think it's very important to communicate to the community the importance of the millages. I personally am always in favor. I don't think you wanted maybe to know which way I vote, but I'm always in favor. Again, I'm a strong supporter of education. This is education from kindergarten all the way to someone who wants to go, you know, through high school. If you want to go to college, education is very important. Again, it's just one of those things in life that makes us better people. So again, I believe since we're in the field of education now, if you want things to succeed, you have to educate the community about it, the importance, why we're doing it, how it affects them, how it affects their children, you know, their extended family, and how it impacts the future. You know, you got to explain to the community the return on investment, because ultimately when someone is paying something out of their pocket, they want to know, what are we getting in return for this? And a lot of times, maybe we don't see that on things being proposed, and things like measures will fail. But I think if we can really educate the community on what is the return on investment. Why is it that we're asking for something? Most people will be in favor because I think in general the community wants the next generation to succeed.
Right. If cuts in programs for students became necessary for financial reasons, what would you cut?
Ooh. So, I mean, I understand cuts happen. I would have to look at how I prioritize. I think the number one goal for schools is to educate our children. So that's the number one priority, the actual education. Beyond that, we make sure that all kids have different needs. So we have to make sure we're still meeting those needs. Then once we have covered the basics, I would start looking at where is the extras. What are the services that we offer as additional services, if you want to call them almost, and forgive me for using the word, the luxury services. What services do we offer that are extras that maybe other school districts that don't have the funding that we do don't offer? But it's always about protecting the basics to make sure the kids are getting a strong education. And I would make cuts toward the additional, again, sorry for the word, luxury programs. I wouldn't know exactly what those are in every school we have right now. That is something I would, again, learn from the group and from experience. But I would definitely do everything I can protect to ensure that the kids are getting a very good education, which means, also like maintaining a good ratio. For me, that's hugely important. As much as might not be popular with parents, sometimes I would go for extracurricular things that are off to the sides and just protect the core education of the students.
Okay. At times you will be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law that you are required to uphold as a board member. How will you handle this?
I didn't know education and healthcare were so similar. It happens. I have my views and you have your views. I think it's very important for a person to have their views and defend them, but it's also equally important to listen to the views of others and understand them. And if ultimately it comes to upholding something we don't necessarily agree with, the rules are the rules. I believe in upholding things no matter what. And if we're in a meeting and we have minutes, I will express my disagreement with it. I would want it on the record, but ultimately we have to uphold the rules because otherwise, ultimately you can't get anything done if the rules are not followed. So I always like what we have to uphold, but it's, sometimes you have to pick your battles. It's you have to let some things go and fight for the things that are really worth fighting for.
All right. What is the role of a school board member?
I think the role of a school board member is to, number one, understand, although in your cases, it's elected as an individual, you're part of a team, number one. You're not, this is not a solo gig of any kind. And also understanding that the board member is not a staff member of this school. So it's kind of, similar in healthcare. My role is pharmacy, even though I'm in other discussions, my role is not to go and be a nurse. It's important to let the staff do their job, let the superintendent run the schools. And I believe the board is there to provide guidance and set expectations as what needs to be done. And approve, obviously, budgets and such. But ultimately, I think the most important thing is knowing the distinction between that the board is not the staff and, kind of drawing a line and not interfering with what a superintendent and the staff of the schools need to do.
Okay. How are we doing on time, Mrs. Berry?
5 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Your questions are done. We'd like to give you the last 5 minutes to share any information you might want to share with us. If there's anything you want to bring up that you haven't or anything you want the board to know.
I'll say no. I just, I appreciate the time you took to speak with me. Again, I understand my experience is lacking, especially in the involvement with, children in school programs. I do hope you consider my candidacy for the position. I can tell you I'm a very hard worker. I work in a lot of committees in the healthcare field, so I love looking at data. I love looking at returns on investment. I love working as part of a team, and I believe I have something to contribute. I hopefully look forward to either working with you or otherwise I'll still be participating regardless. So
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put my mask on so I don't go scare everybody out there. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
5-minute recess just for the restroom facilities. Is that possible?
Sure. You need a potty break. You need a potty break, Ed. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take 5. Our next person is not scheduled until what time? Until 7:10. So we've got
7:10.
plenty of time.
Okay. Sounds
Everybody left.
good. I'm here.
You're just you and me? Is Colleen still here? Colleen's still here.
I'm still here.
Yes, Colleen is still here. I think it's Sue and Ed.
I went to the bathroom before the meeting started.
So did I. We're the smart. What was I going to say? I think this is going quicker than Ed imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was ready.
I'm surprised it's gone so quickly.
It is, yeah. It's yeah, me too.
Well,
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, the questions are to the point. So
Yeah.
it makes it very simple.
Thank you.
Yes. Good job, Madam President.
Thank you.
Yes, agreed.
I appreciate it.
Mhm.
It was in the middle of the afternoon or last night when I wanted to just go to bed and I was doing this thing. It's like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
That's why.
How was your health, Donna?
Not great. Not great, but every day brings another issue. I've got a week and a half and I can walk on my foot, so that's cool. I've been hobbling around and using a transfer chair, and my gosh, it gives you a whole appreciation for being able to get up and walk across a room, I got to tell you.
Well, that's just like breaking an arm. You don't realize how important that arm is until it can't be used.
That's for sure.
Okay, I can go out there and get the next one. They're in their car.
We took a 5-minute break. We're waiting for Sue and Ed.
Okay.
They can come in and just put them on mute. And that way when they come in and they sit down. No?
Well,
What?
we've got to wait for the
Right.
Well, I've got to get them inside and take their temperature and do all the screening, and
yeah.
okay, at least get them inside.
You know what? You can, because as soon as Sue comes back, we can go.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, baby. Thank you. She's so sweet.
She is.
I love her.
those brains.
That girl, I'm telling you, she works so hard and she's so organized. She's so smart.
Yeah.
She is.
We got lucky with that one.
We did. Yeah, we did. Yusuf got lucky with that one too.
Yes.
She's an enormous help to him.
I'm sure.
I agree. Made his transition way easier.
He did. He still says, "Ask Kristen." He'll be saying, "Ask Kristen." 5 years from now, he'll be saying, "We'll ask Kristen."
I know.
Boy, that central office space has changed.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
big time. What about Richard? We're off camera, right? Or off?
No, we're not.
no, I think we're still live.
Yeah, we're still on.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
better.
We are still
Okay,
live.
well then I will not ask that question.
We'll ask that
So
question
let me
later.
tell you, I'm sorry, Lynn just sent us a message. Hi, Lynn, I know you're watching. She misses you guys, and she's letting you know that she is watching. We love you, Lynn.
Oh, I love Lynn.
And we miss
I
her.
called you, Lenny, but I haven't heard from you, but I really miss you.
The city's lucky to have her. You know that.
Oh, boy.
Mhm.
And she looks wonderful, by the way. I watched the
She
city
does.
council meeting. She looks really good.
She does. She looks terrific. Her hair
And-
looks good. Her skin looks good.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
grown.
Isn't it nice?
Yes,
She
I'm so
looks good.
happy.
She had one rough year.
Yes, she did. God bless her.
Are you sparkling? Is your mask sparkling? Oh, I like it.
That is so cute.
Who's?
Okay,
Kristen?
Susan. Yes.
Kristen, you don't have me beat, girl.
There you
Now I'll show my face. Where's Mr. Green? Mr. Green, where are you? Look.
Woohoo!
Are you within earshot, Ed?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think we've got probably our 5 minutes up. Is everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay,
Ready.
why don't we, you can go ahead and bring, what is Susan Regal?
Yep, I will go get Susan.
Thank you.
There you go. It's a familiar name.
Okay, Susan. Go ahead and see if there's a couple waters there if you'd like. And I'll be right outside the door if you need anything. Okay, thank you.
Am I on?
You are on, and
Okay. Here.
we are looking at you.
I see all faces that I know who you are.
All right. You are Susan Regal. Did I say your name right?
That's correct.
Okay. We have got 9 questions to ask you in 20 minutes. You'll have ample time. But we're giving you that so you don't belabor one question and then run out of time at the end. If you're ready, we're ready.
Anytime.
All right. Briefly tell us about yourself, highlighting your involvement with the activities of the Crestwood schools and any specific areas that would help us gain knowledge regarding your candidacy.
I've been in the community since 1990, and I was involved with my children when they were in Kinloch, in elementary school. I was a mom and I was a substitute teacher then. Then I took a big extended hiatus from that, and I returned to subbing a few years ago, about 6 years ago. And at the time that I returned to subbing, Crestwood had changed their policies, even though I'd subbed there before. You're familiar with what the policies changed. So I've been subbing in Dearborn, Northville, Livonia, and District 7, and I did add Crestwood back in last year. So I was in a few of the schools again this past year, not as much as some of the other schools, but that's I built up a rapport with teachers and different, in different other school communities, but still highly involved. My neighbors' kids are, there's a lot of children in the neighborhood that are all schooled at the various schools through the area. So I've not grown up. My kids have grown up with friends in the schools, and I was involved when they were younger.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why do you want to serve on the school board, and what prompted your decision?
To be very candid, I run an election precinct, and in contact with them, with the primary that we just had, I learned of the vacancy actually just on election day, and having been in contact with the school board in the past, I have always felt that as a community member, I see when parents complain about things or when teachers are upset with things and different various policies, I just felt like that I could add to that. Having subbed in about 50 different schools in various districts, I certainly see where teachers and students and parents all need support. So it's given me a broad overview.
Okay. What do you believe is the greatest challenge facing the Crestwood School District?
Well, the obvious answer would be the current COVID situation. And I would applaud the original plan. I'm not sure exactly where it is now, that was set forth by Dr. Musselman and the committee for the attempted return to school with the hybrid, and having the students that have working parents, which is a very real problem, or just a reality in today's world, of having those children in classrooms with their own monitors and having that work out. So the COVID obviously is the greatest challenge currently, but it's just another part and parcel of the school district's challenge, I feel, is to meet every student where they have the greatest need, whether it's with children that are new to the community, children that need extra challenge, children that need differentiation in their learning. I think we need to be supporting the children, instilling in them a love of education. And I've been in enough different classrooms to know that can happen as they're challenged by certain things, and enabling teachers, equipping them to do the job. Right now, one of the greatest problems I feel across the board, not just our school district, but all over, is that students would be better served and teachers would do better if they didn't have quite as many children, if their student ratio was smaller. Obviously, with COVID, that's going to have to be reduced, and in a way, that's not a good thing, but it's good. I think they'll be able to see how they can tailor the education a little bit better, not being spread so thin, and also to help parents be supporters of education for their children.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because of the issues we deal with, confidentiality is a requirement. How would you safeguard? Did I just read this one? No. How would you safeguard the confidential business of the district?
I would just safeguard it by work doesn't go home. Like I said, I run an election precinct. I see people coming in and have to ask for things and have to make sure people in precincts don't talk about politics in front of other people or do things like that. And my husband's in finance. He doesn't bring work home. It's just, that is not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
In different schools that you don't take problems home.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What experiences have you had in working with diverse persons, students, or families, including other ethnic groups and exceptional children? You kind of touched on that, but if you want to add to it.
Were you waiting for somebody else to add to that?
No.
Okay.
You kind of answered that question already, but if you'd like to add.
Just touching basically from the different districts that I've worked in. I have subbed pre-K, I've subbed in elementary up through adult ed in the districts that I mentioned. I've taught ESL classes, even though I don't speak Arabic. I've taught in private schools as a job share program, subbing. I've dealt with a lot of different varieties of ethnic, religious, social groups. And that's just common. And I grew up in Detroit, so I was already pretty ethnically diversified growing up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What approach would you take to helping pass millage renewals, millage increases, or other elections?
Did you say what approach?
Yes. What approach would you take to helping pass millage renewals, millage increases, or other elections?
I believe on millage renewals and new ones, there would be a need for more public awareness. Having seen it from the election side, I know everybody comes in to vote and they say, what does this mean? So I think as a school board member, I would prioritize any type of financial outlays that are being anticipated or requested of the community by making a little more public awareness, getting the word out there, making the wording not of the actual millage, because those are that's official wording, but putting it in plain English so people can see, okay, if we pass this, we will be affected or not. Just on the community chat books and chat rooms and stuff, people are always commenting, oh, I don't believe that anything, no matter what they say, if it doesn't affect me, it's going to, they're still going to get it from me. And educating the public, getting more information out there is what I do to help Millages.
Okay. If cuts in programs for students became necessary for financial reasons, what would you cut?
Well, speaking from somebody who knows a lot of different teachers and knowing where things are being cut in different districts and feeling empathy for all of them, that would be very hard. I would have to look at it at where I know when I speak to different educators that are getting cuts or different programs, I don't know what they're getting to begin with. I'm not on that side of it. So I would first take a look at where is the money being spent. If 25% of everything is being spent on X program, say kindergarten, just for instance, I would reassess that and say, do we really need to spend that much there to effectively work with them, or can something else work in conjunction with that? So off the top of my head, I know it's not a real good answer, but I know.
Tough question. Yeah. Okay, at times you will be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be difference of opinion. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law that you are required to uphold as a board member. How would you handle this?
I would assess school board decisions in accordance with school board policy and with like for now, for example, currently with the governor making decisions in the legislature regarding school start, whether I think that's a good decision or bad decision, it's still, it follows a legal structure. And I would support that what's in place legally and historically, not glossing over. I'm not a yes man, but I would assess it and vote fairly.
Okay. What is the role of a school board member?
I feel the role of a school board member is to actively be involved in what is the best interest of educating the children and giving them a love for learning. Most kids in school, or not most, but a lot, don't want to be there, don't know why they're there. And when they're younger, in the younger grades, they're excited about it, by and large. They lose that and get jaded. I think the school board needs to actively work with schools and teachers and parents to help policies be implemented that best serve the students' needs. I know from being in schools, when a school board member comes to an assembly or to some special award recognition, especially in elementary schools, the kids just like, oh, it's like God's coming in, but not that I would ever think of myself as that. It's just like, but the presence is made aware. And I think that it's important for the school board members not to be in their little closed room making decisions, but to be the friends of the whole student body, but not a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Be an authority, but to make policies and have to make tough policies sometimes.
Mm-hmm. All right, how are we doing on time, Mrs. Beery?
6 minutes.
We are, everyone's running real close to the same amount of time. But what we've done is you've got an extra 6 minutes. If there's anything that you'd like to share with us, anything that you think we should know that would help you or promote you, you can take that opportunity, or if you're done, you're done. So it's up to you.
Okay. Well, a unique unusual thing is I learned about the vacancy on the day of the election. I should have known about it before because I know who Lynn is and I knew that she had taken the city clerk's position. But through the election, and I called the next day to find out, how long the openings were being taken, and I honestly thought it would go to another, to the November ballot. I just wasn't thinking that it was an appointed point at this time. But my concern was, I wonder who is applying. Is anybody applying that actually cares about what the students that live here and the parents that live in the community, how they need to be helped and how they need to be served? And maybe there's other qualified candidates that are more qualified, or that have some a higher calling to it. That's very well could be. But I applied out of concern for the community, having been in the community and seeing that sometimes things don't get filled, and when there's a gap, it shouldn't just be filled by anybody that feels like wandering into the position because they want the prestige. Or I don't consider it a prestigious position. I don't look down on it, but I'm not applying because I'm trying to add to my credentials or anything. It's more out of concern for being a community member.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess that's about it.
All right.
Unless anybody else has any questions.
No, that was perfect. You're all set. We're going to take this time now as a board to discuss everything, and we will let you know.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I need to do anything to the screen?
No, you're all set.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll get up and Kristen will magically appear. And
she does. She's around there somewhere. She'll guide you.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see everyone wearing their masks, isn't it?
Okay. I had my elbows on the table. Okay. But I didn't touch the keyboard or anything. I know you have.
Okay.
How many people?
We can now is when we take the time to discuss each of the candidates, and who we discuss who we think might be good for the position, and even oh God, you scared me. In there, throwing yourself in that chair. It's like, who's this? Who did I forget? There's another one. Yeah, and so we can discuss each of the candidates and hopefully come up with some sort of consensus, if it were.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mrs. Kaminsky.
I just wanted to start by saying I think that we are extraordinarily lucky to have 3 outstanding community members who all have a lot to offer and who are all very community oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And too often you get people who are looking for personal gain, and we were very lucky that we've got 3 people who are really devoted to the community.
Right.
Totally
Having said that, you want my opinions? Or, just my comments on each person, not opinions. But
you can go ahead and say whatever. There's really no rules to this part. We're just discussing openly.
All right.
What our feelings are. I'd like to. I think that the recommendation Mrs. Berry made earlier was to keep it positive.
Yep. Well, and I only have positive things to say because I thought they were all outstanding.
Why don't you go with it then? Mrs.
Janoon, the only thing she lacked was maybe some pom-poms because she's done everything else but that. And, she's certainly been very actively involved. She's a familiar face to the board, and has attended meetings for most of the 6 years I've been on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a lot of positives with her involvement, her 4 children, which encompasses all school levels, and her involvement with the school. So she had certainly a lot to offer. Mr.
Do
Canifer.
we want to do this where we all
Okay.
do Miss Sue gave her feelings on Mrs. Janoon? Do we all want to give our feelings that way, or do we want to have Sue give each individual on all of them?
Maybe give each on all.
Okay.
Okay. So that would mean Sue continues.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Canifer, and I hope I'm not botching his name, and if I am, I apologize.
Perfect.
He, I like the philosophy with the healthcare because there are a lot of similarities with privacy and confidentiality, with patient confidentiality and student confidentiality. And he made a good point that with healthcare, there are things that he may not agree with, but you go with what the policy or the law is. I think it's super admirable that the father of two such young children wants to take such an active role in their education and their life, and is concerned for the community and the life of all the kids is great. So I thought that he had a lot to offer as well, and certainly very well spoken.
Okay.
And then last but not least, Miss Regal, certainly her viewpoint as being both an educator and a parent brings a lot to the table, and it gives her a broad understanding of some of the things that we deal with. And she had, as they all did, a very interesting take from the election, how uninformed people really are by the time they get to the polls, and that we as a board, and I guess everybody in politics, when they're running, people really just aren't getting all the messages we think they are, and we need to educate even more. And that was about it.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to go next? Anybody?
I can go. I'll start with Miss Regal. You could tell she's passionate. She again was involved as a parent. She subs, so she's probably been in the trenches and has seen what is happening in the buildings. The other thing is she just found out, which is good. I just wish that she would. I know that we're not doing the hybrid. I just want her to know that we are not doing the hybrid.
Right.
I wasn't sure if she knew that. Okay, and I'll move on to Mr. Kanapur. I have to say, Mr. Kanapur was very well spoken. I liked his comparisons between the district and the medical field. He definitely knows the pharmacy and the medical field, so I was very impressed with that. I just wish that there was more experience. I mean, and I know that he would work well with diverse because he's showing that in the medical field, medical health care as a pharmacist. Ms. Janoon, I guess she's done it all is what it looked like to me. She was on the edge. I wrote all these notes down on all of them. She was part of the, and the common thing between all of them is that they all said that the pandemic, the COVID, was something we were facing, which is definitely true. But anyway, she was part of the having this bond pass, because I guess she wrote in here that, or she was saying that she went to APEC. She was part of buying the signs and getting that committee together. She's a mother of 4, so we know that she's involved because she's always there, and she did a lot of fundraising for the tin can raffle and making sure that that was a success for the students. And the other thing too is, yes, Sue, just like you said, we have seen her. She is the one that I actually have seen at all the board meetings and seen how involved she was. And so they were all magnificent, and everybody had their own special way.
Right. Right. Ed or Colleen, did you want to say anything?
I will.
All right. Go ahead.
I'll start with Miss Janoon. I've seen her at many, many board meetings, which is very important to me. It shows a direct interest in our children. And she's not afraid to disagree. and she makes her opinions known, a little bit like myself, so I appreciate that. Mr. Knapper, I was so impressed that he has twins that haven't even started school yet, and he wanted to be involved. I thought that was really wonderful. I agree. I would like to see him have had a little bit more experience with the school district, but there's only one way to do that, and that's to be involved.
Right.
So I was, and his background is impressed. I'm impressed by his background. Ms. Regal, I was impressed by her also. To have been on both sides of this, have children in the district and a faculty member in different communities, including ours, that gives her a unique perspective as a board member. So I was impressed with all three of these candidates. It's going to be really tough.
Mr. Garcia, did you have anything that you'd like to throw out there?
All right. Well, thank you, Madam President, and thank you to my colleagues for sharing your information. I'll make mine very brief. All three of the candidates, I think, bring a wide variety of skill sets, talents, and knowledge of the school district as well as the community. Each of them has a passion to be involved and to see that there is an advancement for the future of the district, most importantly for the students' health and welfare. I appreciated the fact that they're very current on our situations regarding our closures, our reopenings, and and everything that, of course, is taking place here in our community as well as worldwide. But I'll just say it this way: they're being involved. It does come with an individual taking their time and being actively engaged and involved in different aspects of the district. And there was one person that personally I know is involved in all grade levels. And is fortunate enough to have children in all three of those levels. So there's been a direct involvement, not only with the individual, but as well as, immediate family. I think that kind of sets that individual a little bit further apart. But then it also gives an opportunity for the other two candidates, and I'll just leave it that way in generalization, for them the opportunity to get involved. I know that with this COVID, it has prevented us from meeting in person. But I agree, and I believe it was with Colleen, and I think all of my colleagues have said it. It's nice to see parents coming to school board meetings to take that real direct interest in knowing, I guess for the word would be right from the horse's mouth, what's going on. And,
right.
and then with that engaging in positive conversation with the board, with administration. So it kind of sets a certain people apart. But I think that they all should continue to be involved and engaged, and and continuously working towards the betterment of the district. We know that a community to be rich with culture and with tradition and with pride, it has to have a strong school district, and that starts with a strong community. So I hope that the other two candidates will continue their involvement with Crestwood. Thank you.
Perfect. Remind me to vote for you, Ed, when you run again. Okay, I found all of them to have their own set of skills that would benefit the district, but definitely. Having the substitute teacher who has been in the classroom, in the trenches, and knows what's going on. Having a man that's reached the level he has of running a pharmacy at a major hospital. They all would be assets. Had the Mrs. Janoon, who has done everything. They've all brought something, and I'm so delighted to see that there were three people that wanted to step forward, because we know this isn't easy. And I think a couple of the candidates mentioned that they know there were some hard choices we've had to make, and they're ready to do it. And that's, I mean, how can you, that's wonderful. And I hope all three of them continue in their interest and continue to get involved at a higher and higher level. Having said that, there is one candidate that said something which is struck me as really being true, that she has been involved in every level. She's done it all. She's been there for the kids, and I found that she, in her letter and in her words, had more to say about the students and the kids than anything else. Her comment was that we need to focus on the students. And that struck, you know, we need to focus on the students. And that would be Mrs. Janoon. I thought that she was, I think that she's got a handle on what's going on. I know that she has been very active, because I know for a while there she drove us crazy. If there's something she sees that's wrong, she's going to let you know, and she's not going to stop letting you know till it's fixed. I think she would be an excellent board member. Not that the other two wouldn't, but of the three, I think that she's shown dedication in coming to the meetings and in everything else that she's done to be involved. So, I mean, other than I could repeat, I agree with everything everyone said about the other two candidates. And I hope that they stay interested. And if there's another, God forbid, if there's another opening, I hope that they take an interest in it, because they're the kind of people we need. Mm-hmm. But for this time, I think that I would definitely go with Mrs. Janoon. So let's get down to real names here.
Madam President?
Yes, Colleen.
Should I make the recommendation now, or does someone want to talk more?
I don't. Does anyone have anything more they want to say?
I do. Madam Chair, if I can, I wanted to say, I forgot to mention that, you know, now as we're talking, Ms. Janoon is a mover and a shaker. She did start Crestwood Parents for Progress, which helped us to see other views. You know, right. We all could agree to disagree, but we also had to watch and see and the accuracy of what was coming along the line. So we, you know, that was huge to get people more involved, and she did do that. Mm-hmm. So I have to.
And Madam President, also.
Yes, ma'am.
I disagreed with her, but I respect her ultimately, because she had the drive to be on the other side of the board at times, and but with respect. And that's why I'm leaning towards Ms. Janoon. So that's why I want to make the recommendation.
Okay.
I move that the Crestwood Board of Education approve candidate Najah Janoon to be moved forward as a consideration for Board of Education trustee at the regular meeting that will be held virtually Monday, August 24th, 2020 at 7 p.m.
Support.
All right, we have a motion from Mrs. Krasanik, and it was supported by several people.
I think all of us.
Yes, yes, we'll give it to Mrs. Berry.
Kaminsky said it before me.
Who did? Kaminsky?
Yes.
Thanks, Nadia.
You guys are wonderful. All right, change that to Mrs. Kaminsky. Not that it matters, but why not? That it is the recommendation of the Crestwood Board of Education to approve candidate Mrs. Najah Janoon to be moved forward for consideration as a board trustee at a regular board meeting that will be held virtually Monday, August 24th. This motion, actually moving her forward for consideration, if we vote on this right now,
she's official.
She is official. So it's
I think we should.
She'd be sworn in on Monday.
Yes, and then we would be swearing her in officially, right, Ed, on Monday. So just be aware of that, because the wordage is a little bit weird.
So do you need to amend and take consideration out of the motion?
I think that's a good idea, Mrs. Kaminsky.
All right, two, I'll say, let's take out move forward for consider,
No, not the consideration. Take the consideration off.
all right, read it, Colleen, how you
How
want.
about to be considered?
It is recommended that the Crestwood Board of Education approve candidate Najah Janoon to be moved forward as a Board of Education trustee at the regular meeting that will be held virtually Monday, August 24th,
Very good.
2020 at 7 p.m.
That's great. Does everyone agree with that motion?
Yes,
Okay, and that is also supported by you, Mrs. Kaminsky?
it is.
Okay. Is there any further discussion regarding this?
Madam
Can I
President,
Kristen has her hand up.
Go ahead, Chris.
Mr.
I'll yield to Kristen since she had her hand up. I did not.
Go ahead, Kristen. I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
I'll wait.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't want to. Mrs. Janoon is on the other side of the building. Would you like me to get her?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can we
that would
just
be
do
nice.
One more thing before, I just wanted to ask, because I want to make sure that I have this corrected. Colleen, you read this verbatim off of
The action,
the action item and filled in the name, correct?
yes, but then she
Correct.
changed it.
Okay, but
But
we
then I
had to do-
changed the consideration. I just took out consideration, so we
Oh, okay.
amended it.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're taking out the consideration to be moved forward as a Board of Education trustee.
Right.
So she is, okay, so we're voting her. in.
When we vote. Ed,
Now
go
we
ahead.
vote.
Yeah, Madam President, is it possible that a letter could be drafted, since we only had 3 candidates? A letter could be drafted
Yes.
just thanking those 2 candidates for their interest in applying and to encourage them to remain active within the school district and so on. Just something that's
I'll take care of that.
for what it is that they did, because this
Absolutely.
is a
because
thankless
you were
job.
wonderful.
I mean, we meet and
Yeah.
go on and on and on, but I don't, I like what she said. This is not for prestige. This is because we're
Right.
really working hard with administration for the best of this district. Thank you.
Trust me,
Yes,
it's not.
thank you for bringing that up. We did talk about that weeks ago. So yeah, I wrote it down. Now I won't forget it. And we'll send
Madam
that.
President,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Since we amended the motion, should we revote?
We
Or
haven't
not.
voted. We haven't voted yet. We're waiting. Are there?
Oh, well, then we don't need to
Comments?
revote.
Okay, any further comments? And hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carries. And Kristen, I think, went to go get our new board member. She will be officially sworn in at this Monday's meeting for the official swearing in, which is always nice. Hey,
Oh, hey,
congratulations.
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 You did.
Congratulations, Najah.
Thank you. Thanks, Colleen.
If you heard the nice things that people said about you, you'd hold it over everybody.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited.
You should be. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
You've
You
done,
know what? You've worked
We've got a
really hard.
wonderful team now.
yeah, and you paid your dues. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
You've
I'm
worked
looking forward
very
to being
hard.
part of the team.
So-
Thank you.
Monday, this coming Monday is when you will be sworn in, although you're official now.
Okay.
You'll have the swearing in. We'll do the
Okay.
swearing in ceremony. And then Kristen, I'm sure, has all kinds of stuff for you to sign and things to give you.
Okay.
And then you and I have to get together and talk about different things. Like, I'll give you, there's a lot of information I need to give you.
Okay.
Then we will choose a mentor for you, which I think
Okay.
maybe Nadia, if she's up to it.
That's whatever, that's fine. That's
Okay.
what you'd like.
It's just nice to have
Alright.
a member whisper in your ear if you're not quite sure what's going on, and or just look at her face and that'll tell you everything, right?
So even if Nadia is the mentor, I can't call you or Sue.
Oh,
or
no, of course.
Oh, no.
You can call everybody.
You. That's right.
You call me Najah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Call
we're
Colleen.
getting great things done. what I love about this is we've come a long way, haven't we? And things are great. Things are moving forward. Working as close as we do with the superintendent. He's part of the team. He always says he's the 8th board member.
Yes.
You're gonna, you've already worked very close with him as high as a parent of every PTA that in this side of the, Ohio. So working with him as a board member is a whole different thing. And you're going to enjoy it. I know you are, because you get involved. So congratulations anyway.
Congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
And I did want to say one thing, Madam Chair. It's okay to agree to disagree. So you have to have thick skin, but it's okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
And I'm not here to make friends.
No.
I'm here to influence people.
It's not about friendships, it's about the kids.
I know.
That's right.
It's about the kids. So.
We have too many Najah quotes is what it is.
Duh.
All righty. So with that, with all of that happiness, I'm delighted. We can have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Mrs. Kaminsky, supported by Mrs. Beery, to be adjourned at 7:42, says my clock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good night, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.